UFC Vegas 114. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. I'll be live for the entire card, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So don't miss the Fight Companion Saturday. And let's get into the ladies. Kicking it off, Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes 2. Rematch we didn't ask for, but here we are getting it. I'm going to go with Sam Hughes this time. The first time they fought, it was actually incredibly close. If you look at how that fight was scored, like 2 out of the 3 judges gave Sam Hughes round 3, 29-28 towards Piera Rodriguez, but one of them ended up giving the first round to Sam Hughes. So like the first and third round, toss-up rounds. I feel like since that fight, Sam Hughes has been looking solid. I mean, she's been able to beat Jacqueline Amarim, who at one point was, touted as the most terrifying grappler on the rise in the women's strawweight class. Lost to Rahiki, an incredible technical striker, and then, beats Dudakova in a competitive one, beats Luciano, was a good striker in a competitive one, and then just mauled Shauna Bannon. Piera Rodriguez on the opposite side, she relies on just hitting takedowns and controlling a lot of her fights. And even against Ketlin Sousa, it was like, I don't want to use the term panic wrestling, but it was some lay and pray. Sousa was walking her down and trying to rip her with some shots. And Piera, to be fair, is not an awful striker by any sense of the word. She doesn't have a lot of big power, and I think she's going to be at a little bit of a speed disadvantage here with Sam Hughes. And she won that by barely holding on at the end to take down, get to the top and just lay and pray. And if damage is trumping all, I'm thinking to myself, I could see Sam Hughes landing a few bigger shots. I feel like we got another coin flip as close as their first one was. Something pushes me towards Sam Hughes, who's on a 3-fight win streak. Piera Rodriguez fight IQ is suspect as hell. The Ariane Carnelosi fight, she headbutted her. I know it was nearly 2 years ago, but red flag on that. And then, obviously got subbed up easy by Jillian Robertson, who's a nasty grappler. So it's not like Piera's that good at grappling, though. She's got some decent takedowns, but doesn't do a whole lot with them. Her striking is okay. She can kickbox a bit, but I think she's a little slower than Sam Hughes. I expect it to be back and forth. I think that Piera Rodriguez style is annoying, hitting the takedowns and, just embracing the grind. And I feel like Sam Hughes can stop some takedowns, maybe out-volume her with a little bit better hand speed, a little bit better cardio. And I feel like if her get-up game is on point, even if she's down a couple of times, especially with the emphasis on damage, she hits Piera with a couple of clean punches. It could sway the fight in her favor. I think it's going over 2.5 rounds. I think it's going to be a close decision. I'll go Sam Hughes. Don't be surprised when it's a split decision on the side of Sam Hughes. She's plus 115, the underdog. I'm not going to go out and pick Piera Rodriguez as the favorite, and not saying that I'm picking Sam just because she's the dog, but you got a coin flip type of fight. My coin is landing on tails, going Sam Hughes to get revenge in the rematch. I feel like she can do a little bit more. I like her offensive attack a little bit more. I think she got, quicker hands, better leg kicks. It's probably going over 2.5 at minus 450, which is a damn lock of the century. Yeah, not a fight that I am writing down on my must-watch card, but I will be live for the opener prelim fight, which is this one, a legacy rematch between these girls. I'll say Sam Hughes does a bit more work, outstrikes her, wins the decision, probably 2 rounds to 1, but one judge will also score the fight for Piera Rodriguez. It'll end up being a split decision, and I'll go Sam Hughes by slight volume edge and a little bit more damage. Next fight on the card, we have Elijah Smith versus Su Young Yu. I have been waiting patiently for the moment to pick against Su Young Yu and be right on the money. I am going Su Young Yu to beat Elijah Smith. I did pick him against Long Shao last time, but I feel like a guy that I've wanted to see take the L. I've been thinking this guy, the Jiu-Jitsu, the Korean Habib, is so damn overrated. And in this fight here, I think he's at a massive disadvantage on the feet. Elijah Smith is a slick boxer with fast hands and good straight shots and knockout power on top of it. But he's not just a boxer. You look at Elijah Smith and you see good reflexes. You actually see a decent jab, and you see somebody that looks like they box at a high rate. But he isn't only striking. He's got a good ground game. He can wrestle pretty well. He can defend submissions pretty well. At 9-1, he's definitely a blue chip prospect in the UFC. And I like his chances of handling Su Young Yu. The striking of Su Young Yu is like nothing to write home about. I'd call it incredibly average at best. Doesn't have much length, 65-inch reach versus 71. I'm already liking that way more for Elijah Smith, especially because he also likes to work straight shots down the line. And I think about Su Young Yu, he's kind of stationary, doesn't have a lot of head movement as he blasts forward. He's going to be looking to wrestle. I think Smith's hips should be pretty on point in this fight. I think he's fending off the, pressure attack from Su Young Yu, who's going to, try and a little lay and pray, a little Korean lay and pray action. Take down control, get the top position. He's not Korean Habib. I'll tell you this. I think Elijah Smith hits a takedown in this fight if he wants to. If he shoots for it, he can take Su Young Yu down. Then when you look at the striking, it's just not competitive at all. Elijah Smith is a good boxer. Su Young Yu is not. Su Young Yu's stand-up is based upon being able to eat a shot, to close distance, clinch, and look to take the fight to the ground or shoot. To be honest, he's shooting hella single legs. Hella single legs. And I don't see him getting it in this one. No. I refuse to believe that Su Young Yu is taking out a bright prospect in Elijah Smith. And I think first UFC L is coming Su Young Yu's way. And looking towards the odds for the fight, dude, Elijah Smith at -180 is not bad. For as much potential as I see, I feel like -180 is like incredibly fair here. That's a nice, it's not like a wow line, but like that's kind of a nice line. -180. I was thinking to myself that the odds here would be like -275. I was thinking that the odds here would have Su Young Yu as a bigger underdog. But I guess he's getting respect because of that undefeated UFC record and, the win over AJ Cunningham. Oh, my God. Ages well, bro. He's never fought a slick striker like Elijah Smith with length. He's going to struggle. He's going to get boxed up. He might get knocked out. I'm not going to go as far as to say I guarantee a KO, but Elijah Smith has power in his hands. Elijah Smith's coming off a knockout. He's got 5 wins by KO as a pro. The Su Young Yu chin should hold up, but if he's just consistently getting thudded with straight punches, I do feel like Elijah Smith could turn over a power shot and potentially put him down. But I'll anticipate Smith with a clear decision, but I'll hope for sure, not expect, but hope that Elijah Smith can stop Su Young Yu. That'll be pretty great. Definitely with the nice height and reach advantage, I see him picking apart Su Young Yu en route to a nice win. 23 years old, hasn't fought in 6 months. That's 6 months off. How much better is he? Killed Kazama, but it is what it is. Kazama, whatever. We don't. Kazama is an irrelevant factor to this fight. It's the fact that Elijah Smith has shown good potential. Beat Vince Morales, caught in some tight submission attempts, but he did that same shit to Raul Rosas, who's now in the top 15. So I think Elijah Smith is good to go. He'll be able to pass the Su Young Yu test, and I'll go with him to win. Next fight, Bia Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon. Woo! The ladies. Oh, I'll go Bia Mesquita, but like, whatever, I'm going Bia Mesquita, the 34, nearly 35-year-old prospect over the 36, nearly 37-year-old prospect. I feel like the grappling game of Mesquita is just simply better. It's like championship level jiu-jitsu. That's why they call her the Lady Goat, because she's supposed to be the greatest, Brazilian jiu-jitsu grappler of the generation. She's definitely extremely good. World-class BJJ. Versus Montserrat Rendon, who can wrestle a bit and, is kind of a stubborn girl. Comes with decent straight punches and forward pressure, but like doesn't have much creativity to her striking. And I think a woman that beats Mesquita is going to be somebody that can defensively wrestle at a high rate, but also bring some fucking speed. If these two were to just kickbox, I would not be surprised if Bia Mesquita is actually clobbing Rendon with overhands and shit. And then when you look at the element of the ground game, Rendon can wrestle a bit. She has some grappling. But I think about Rendon's performances in the UFC, like not blown away. The Vidal split decision. The Zelenjnikova fight was hot garbage. The Elise Pereira fight, hot garbage. The girl was like 19. Yeah, she's got a grappling background, but it's not to the caliber of Mesquita. Mesquita should be able to out-grapple Montserrat Rendon en route to getting it done. Probably I think she's going to find the kill with the sub. Now, I will say, though, I would not bet Bia Mesquita at minus 450. Goddamn. Holy shit. Her ground game is awesome. And she's still developing, though. But she's 35, you know? And she's 5'4" to Rendon at 5'8". So there is that like element of size. But I think that Mesquita should be able to get her down and use that elite caliber jiu-jitsu. I could see it being a positional control based fight. Not much ground and pound. Maybe some submission attempts from Mesquita, but I don't feel like overconfident that she's going to win by submission against Rendon. And maybe I'm overrating Rendon, but like the level of grappling is different here with Bia Mesquita. Like this is world caliber. But Rendon grapples, you know? So it's like she's a tough Mexican woman with solid takedown defense and okay wrestling in her own right. Like she could take some of the ladies down, but it's like so bad on the feet. It's robotic, dude. It's like, I feel like you're playing UFC Undisputed 2009 with the way Rendon's striking. It looks like a robot. Not that Mesquita is this world caliber stand-up fighter at all. She's grappling only, really. But I'll favor her grappling. I think she wins the battle of position. She might end up getting a simple submission, like a rear naked choke or something like that. But, you know, the odds for the fight are atrocious here. Holy shit. Let's bring the odds up. Let me find them. Minus 550 for Bia Mesquita. So not even close. At open, what were the lines? Minus 500. So, yeah, they're wide as hell. Rendon plus 420 as the underdog in this fight. Lucky number 420. I don't know. This is the first ever post Ripskis, Jay. I'm not off the Ripskis right now, but you know, you guys know if you watch the show Friday night, I had a good time. The plus 420 though is still not calling me to Montserrat Rendon. I think Beatriz Mesquita's elite jiu-jitsu should be enough to win her the fight, landing takedowns, controlling position, and possibly hitting that rear naked strangle or something like that. I'll favor her. I think she's going to get the hand raised. I'll go for elite BJJ skills and American top team, better gym, you know, training with high-level girls like Kayla Harrison. Mesquita should be able to get a win at this level for sure. Next fight on the card, Hecher, Sousa, and Luan Lacerda. I'm going Hecher, Sousa. I'm going to have some faith in this Contender Series winner. But I did my due diligence, and I had to double check. Because I'm like, yeah, he bodied Maxon Lee in grappling. But I watched a few other fights back, right? Against guys that he went a little longer with, and even a submission specialist that he fought, you know, several fights ago. Hecher Sousa can defend takedowns. And if he does get taken down, he's got a pretty good get-up game. But altogether, he's a very like well-rounded prospect. Like if you described Hecher Sousa in the most simple of terms, he boxes at a high rate, he wrestles at a pretty strong rate, and he defends takedowns well. And he actually has very good positional awareness on the ground, like good positional control when he's on top, able to put the pins on the opponent fairly well, and doesn't seem to get shaken off easily. And his jiu-jitsu defense, oh my God, I sound like a country boy, is really going to be the element of success here. Because Luan Lacerda's got no chance striking. Lacerda's striking is based on athleticism. He has good kicks, you know. I don't know if it's the Taekwondo background, but like it reminds me a bit of the Taekwondo flow. He's got good body kicks, nice teeps to the body, good round kicks to the body. He can kick from the outside. With the hands, he has a bit of deceptive speed, but like there's not much power in his punches. And I actually see him as pretty hittable if you have a guy who can stop his takedown. And Luan Lacerda was able to buzzsaw through Simon Oliveira, but Simon Oliveira is terrible. You know, he should have never been in the UFC. They were trying to give Lacerda an easy win. And Lacerda was a high confidence pick for me that week, and he won. Beautiful work. But now he fights Hecher Sousa that actually looks like he could have a bit of a run in this UFC bantamweight division. I think he can stop Lacerda's grappling attempts. And in a striking fight, Lacerda is going to get melted on the feet. Hecher Sousa's got big punch combinations, knockout power with real speed too. And he can also go long. He can go 3 rounds. If it has to be, if he doesn't stop Lacerda, this is not an end of the world scenario for him. Hecher Sousa can win this fight by decision. He can get on top of Lacerda and not be submitted. I would not be shocked if after round 1, Lacerda's fatiguing, Hecher Sousa lands some shots. Maybe Hecher Sousa takes Lacerda down and hits him with some good ground and pound from top. Like Sousa's ground skills seem to be pretty up to par for what is definitely good enough to pass this level of test against like a more relatively one-dimensional grappler. I think we're going to see Hecher Sousa with punch combinations find some devastating shots, and I'll favor him to eventually even sit down Luan Lacerda. I don't know if it'll be first round. He's got the hand speed and the power to catch Lacerda early. And like we've seen Hecher Sousa in the WoW FC and shit, like he's gotten some quick KOs. He got a first round knockout pre-contender series, got a first round knockout 2 fights before, first round knockout before that one. But, you know, he did go 3 rounds against a tough Brazilian in Thiago Henrique, who he showed good grappling skills against, though. He was winning battle of position on the ground, showing like a well-versed MMA game. I think the better MMA fighter is Hecher Sousa. He checks boxes. Lacerda is good at submission threat, but I'm not going to favor that. I think Hecher's a good prospect for a reason. I'm telling you, I think he's got a bit of a run in him. I don't know about, you know, world-class talent, but very solid mid-tier top 25 level on the table. Whereas Lacerda, I just think is more of a bottom feeder with good jiu-jitsu. He'll probably stay alive on the UFC roster after this one, but I don't see him taking it far. His striking is not good. His kicks, like I said, best element, but I would rather have hands than just legs with punching, you know, and as opposed to just kicking. And Sousa should be able to knock him out in the second or third round. So I'll go Hecher Sousa, KO or decision in this one. Should be able to pick apart Luan Lacerda, wear him down, wear him out, break him down, and finish him off. So minus 220 for Hecher Sousa, Luan Lacerda plus 185. I think that Hecher Sousa is definitely one of the better combination punchers that are on the rise right now. Over under, plus money for the over. Little favorite status for the under. I favor the under, but like second or third round. So like I'd rather go Hecher Sousa wins round 2 or 3, something like that. You know, as opposed to chancing it with the over under. And if Hecher did win, just a smart decision, shutting Lacerda down, I'm not sitting here shell shocked. His striking's way better. He's got knockout power, but he's got a high fight IQ. He was the story of last season on Contender Series. I don't know if you guys remember, but his father had passed away like before the fight, right before. So there's a, you know, a heavy heart that went into that. And he dominated Max and Lee like a 6'3" bantamweight. Nasty striker from Brazil. I think Hecher Sousa is the real fucking deal. And Luan Lacerda should get smoked in this one. Next fight on the card, Bolaji Oki versus Manoel Sosa. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't know about this Manoel Sosa guy. I think he's overrated. I'm going Bolaji Oki. Manoel Sosa was losing clearly in the first 2 rounds on the Contender Series against dangerous Spanish prospect Christian Perez. He was getting taken down and controlled. Perez gassed out. And Sosa, relentless, a lot of will to win, able to clobber him with some big shots. And to be honest, though, it was the failed takedowns. It was the gas tank dwindling, and it was Sosa just wanting it badder. I have no doubt that Manoel Sosa wants to win badly. But his overall skill, not great. Takedown defense is suspect. His punching style is a lot of looping shit. And oh my God, I see it in the comment. He knocked out Mauricio Ruffi on the regional scene. Okay. Shit happens, man. It's a regional scene fight early in their careers. Yes, he's got some power in his looping shots, but it's a lot of looping shots only, though. Like, what the hell? When Manoel Sosa, okay, he's explosive. He loops some punches well. He's got comeback ability. He's explosive on the feet, and he's defensively sound on the ground to not get choked out against a guy that, you know, maybe doesn't have a dangerous submission game, but more positional knowledge and control. Like, I think Bolaji Oki's in this fight. Bolaji Oki's got devastating punching power, but Bolaji Oki's got fast hands, and I think he's being slept on. I think he's being slept on. Yes, he has had some bad performances. His UFC debut against Kawamba, way too close. It shouldn't have been that close. But to be fair, Kawamba's decent now at bantamweight. But then the fight after that, it's like people forget he rocked Chris Duncan before getting subbed, caught in some stupid shit. Fight after that, beats Michael Aswell in a decision. Aswell's a good boxer. Aswell's actually a nice win. And then fight after that, he nearly kills Mason Jones and then ends up getting beaten up on the ground, controlled on the mat, and just shown levels by a guy with a well-rounded tool set. Bolaji Oki's got the gift of power, though, and I just don't know about Manoel Sosa. Like, he's a PFL fighter that got brought into Contender Series. He's 13-1. Yes, it's a nice record, but I got a guy in Bolaji Oki with 4 UFC fights with devastating power. He's been win-loss, win-loss. Like, he's due for a win in this one. And I feel like sometimes we overrate these contender series guys. Like evidence in front of me, I don't think Manuel Sousa is amazing. I think he's an explosive athlete and he's physically strong and he's got some punching power, but I don't think he's technically sharp. And both of these guys explosive, but Bolaji is better with straight shots. Bolaji also has a nice reach advantage in the fight. I think Bolaji could get to the Manuel Sousa chin. And to be fair, Bolaji, yes, he's taken some L's against full-size lightweights. His wins are against featherweights. And people will look at that and be like, oh, well, he's only beaten featherweights, right? Or bantamweight now at Kawamba. But he's dealt with some quick strikers and been able to outwork them over 3 rounds. And then against more full-size lightweights that we consider dangerous fighters, Mason Jones is very good. Chris Duncan is fighting in a main event for the UFC. He found the devastating shot on the feet. And it's like, Manuel Sousa is not an elite grappler. He was getting mauled on the floor. I think not having the X factor of like very dangerous submission threat. He's got 3 wins by sub as a pro. Hasn't won by submission since 2022 against a 5-3 fighter. I feel like Bolaji could outstrike him, especially if it's a more patient Bolaji and he just doesn't blow his wad going for chaotic bombs. Like the problem is when he hurts you, he tends to forget like, oh shit, I have to set things up. He just goes balls to the wall. But like the actual tool set that Bolaji has is good. Like he could be a good fighter in the UFC, not a UFC washout. And it really comes down to if he can control himself in this fight. I'm going Bolaji. This is a 50-50 type of fight to me. I don't understand the odds. I don't know if you guys have seen the odds for the fight, but Manuel Sousa is a 3-1 favorite. How? His contender series performance does not equal 3-1 favorite against UFC veteran Bolaji, who he blew the roof off the place in the contender series. Like if both of these guys bring me to a different world, before we've seen Bolaji take a couple of L's, we go into a different world. And Manuel Sousa hasn't fought that level yet, okay? So let's go to a different world here. Contender series performance, Bolaji. Contender series performance, Manuel Sousa. The line is flipped in the complete other direction. We haven't seen Manuel tested against UFC level guys yet. Oh, well, he's in the PFL. PFL's the B League, and he lost the fight there to Archie Colgan, the wrestler. I'm going Bolaji as an underdog. Plus 250 is crazy to me. If you had it at plus 125, okay. But even that, like, this doesn't make sense at all. This is a competitive fight. Manuel Sousa lost the first 2 rounds. If his opponent does not gas, he loses a 30-27 lopsided decision. But now he's a 3-1 favorite against a powerful UFC veteran who in all of his UFC fights, regardless of outcome, has had moments that you're like, oh shit, he caught Chris Duncan. Damn, he nearly put to bed a dangerous guy in Mason Jones. He's only 30 too. He's 30 years old. I'm going Bolaji as an underdog. I think he's being slept on. I don't know about Manuel Sousa. I got doubts. I was doubting him on Contender Series. And to be honest, I was right up until I wasn't when his opponent gassed out. But I think he's got a suspect wrestling game. I think his striking is overrated. I think he's very wild and he's hittable as fuck down the center line. He's just tough. And he has a lot against Chris Duncan or Mason Jones. I don't think so. I'm going Bolaji for the upset, and I think he could end up getting the biggest win of his UFC career with like an impressive and calculated performance. I don't understand the odds at all. I think Manuel Sousa is riding the high of that roofie regional scene win, but that won't matter much at the end. Oki, upset, I'm picking him, and he's a plus 250 underdog in a fight that should be lined pretty much evenly. Next fight, Chris Curtis, Mitabek Orolbai. Mitabek Orolbai, 28-year-old, well-rounded prospect on the rise who's at 170 and looking better versus Chris Curtis, former ranked top 15 middleweight who has decided I'm going to drop weight. Like, this is a terrible idea. I know Chris Curtis used to be a welterweight, but Chris Curtis at welterweight is not the move. Chris Curtis should be fighting at 185. The extra cutting of weight when you get into that 36, 37, 38 mark, normally what you should do is the opposite. I mean, you see guys move up in weight and then kind of add a bit of length to their careers, but draining himself down to 170, I just don't think it's a great move for Chris Curtis. Now, he's a good boxer. He's a tricky southpaw. He's got some punching power, but at 170, he's at a clear speed disadvantage. Mitabek Orolbai, he's underrated in power. I mean, you saw him put out Jack Hermanson in one shot. Granted, you say, oh, a chinny Hermanson, fair, sure, but he still flatlined him. Orolbai has pretty dangerous striking, though. He's a good kickboxer and he's got fast, straight punches. And then he's an annoyingly good wrestler. But it's not just the wrestling, it's the fact that he closes the gap at an incredible rate and he sticks to you like glue, man. He gives you no space. He's clingy, yo. Mitabek Orolbai is a clingy fighter. He's not getting off your side. He's grabbing you and he's holding on. And he's also got a steel chin and a ton of will to win. I mean, if you look back at that Rumbeschki fight, weird scenario around it, sure. But like Orolbai is still coming to kill him come round 3 after Rumbeschki gave his soul to that fight. And I'm thinking, he looked better at 170, always. I mean, people forget he subbed up Uros Medic, who's a top contender now in the top 15. Tofik Masayev, easy sub. Jack Hermanson, quick KO. Like, he's looked amazing lately. And I think that Mitabek Orolbai is leveling up at 28. And I think that Chris Curtis is getting worse. A Max Griffin split decision 7 months ago. I don't like that for him at all. 7 months off, comes back, doing 170 again. Dude, I can't trust in a guy going split decision with Max Griffin. At 185, sure, Kopylov knocked him out. Kopylov's amazing. Brendan Allen and him went to war. He did great against Brendan Allen 2 years ago. At 185, Chris Curtis carries heavier power. At 185, he has a better gas tank. And he's got the speed edge on some of these big dudes. But at 170, the lighter man's skill, especially Orolbai, former lightweight, like lighter man's skill wins it at this weight class. I think Chris Curtis is taking a loss here to Mitabek Orolbai. He could end up going all 3 rounds and getting outworked, but Orolbai could potentially put him in some really uncomfortable positions on the ground. And there's a chance for Orolbai striking to get through. I mean, you look at Curtis's career, he's only been submitted 1 time, only been knocked out twice, but he's 38 years old now, and he's towards that, twilight run of his fighting career. And he's, 2 fights ago knocked out by Roman Kopylov, and then Curtis goes out and wins the close fight against Griffin. I think Orolbai is showing him levels. It's probably an Orolbai pressure-heavy decision, and I think Chris Curtis is frustrated by Orolbai's speed because he is very deceptively quick. And I don't think Chris Curtis has the power to put Orolbai away at 170. At 85, he carries heavier hands. The weight cut diminishes him. I don't like this weight class for Chris Curtis anymore. I think, 5 years ago, it's a different conversation. But now, no, I don't like it. Orolbai all day. Minus 260 favorite, Mitabek Orolbai. I think he's good to go. Plus 220 for Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis is going to be snuffing on shots and getting frustrated and probably getting taken down. Over 2.5, minus 150. I think we're going over. There could be a testy moment for Orolbai with Curtis cracking him and maybe even busting his nose up a little bit and like surviving to the later stage. But I still think Orolbai is going to do more throughout the 15-minute fight. So Mitabek Orolbai to get it done. I see him getting his hand raised. I think it's a tough matchup for Chris Curtis, a guy who can do it all very well and faster than him. I don't get why Curtis is staying at 170. I don't think it's going to be a rebirth. I think better off just have some fun fights at 185, man, because he's fighting outside of the rankings anyways at 170. I think Orolbai clears and should show out. And I think he's a dangerous threat at 170. Like, I don't know about the best of the best, but like I could see Mitabek Orolbai beating a lot of people just with his relentless style. A lot of heart, good chin, great cardio, underrated stand-up, and a strong ground game. I think this is a bad recipe for a Chris Curtis, so we're going Orolbai W. Next fight on the card, we got Brad Tavares and Eryk Anders. They are essentially like the same fighter in some way. They're essentially the same person. They fought a lot of similar opposition. The one difference is, though, Brad Tavares doesn't have much punching power, and Eryk Anders does. Tavares, 5 wins by knockout as a pro across his 21 fights. Anders, 10 knockout wins across his 17 wins. It said 21 fights, meant 21 wins for Tavares. But I got to favor Eryk Anders. I think he hits harder. I think Eryk Anders could do a little bit more. I think he could back Tavares up. It's a sloppy one. It's one of those fights where I'm like, yo, sit down, watch the OGs go after it. Both 38 years old. To be honest, like this is a fight I'd more expect in the GFL, the Geriatric Fight League, which is supposed to be making a debut this year. I doubt it, but if so, I would more anticipate this as a fight there. It doesn't make sense on this card, but whatever. I think Eryk Anders is going to hit him with some harder shots. I don't know about that Tavares chin. He gets knocked out too much, man. You look, knocked out bad versus Bryshek. Bryshek can box a little bit, but like I'm not closing my eyes to the fact that Ihor Potieria beat the fuck out of him. And then Park split decision. sounds familiar because split decision Anders had to park. And then RoboCop absolutely flattened them, right? Win over Old Man Weidman, win over Wash Meerschaert by a decision, getting on the cards. Eryk Anders also beat Old Man Weidman, but at least he stopped him. Right before that, Jamie Pickett decision. He was dropped there. It's not a great look. Kyle Dawkins knockout has aged well. Dawkins on the damn White House card. And then Leroy Duncan destroyed him, but Leroy Duncan's a contender. Bryshak is not that good. I feel like Eryk Anders can kind of smother Tavares backwards and maybe catch him with some wild shots, press him against the cage. Tavares trying to throw some rhythmic strikes from the outside. I see it close. What are the people picking? Anders 56%. It's a coin flip fight. It could really go either way because there's an argument that Tavares is a little lighter on his feet than Eryk Anders and could like stay moving and catch him with some decent kicks and rip some shots up high. But like, if it does turn into a bit more of like a barn burner and they start slugging it out a bit, I just would more so trust in Eryk Anders' punch resistance and in his punching power, as opposed to Brad Tavares on the opposite side, who's more feather-fisted. He's a volume puncher, and he's a bit on the chinny side. I'm going to say Eryk Anders is live to pull this one out in a weird-ass fight, because that's just what this is. This is a very weird fight on the card. Everything about this fight is just strange to me, because normally the UFC would like match make fighters like this, Eryk Anders or Tavares, against up-and-comers, as opposed to throwing the OGs against each other like this. It's like a battle of OG gatekeepers. Let's find out who is getting sent down a little further or who's getting sent to retirement. I don't know. I'll go Anders. I think he can do a bit more, and potentially he's got the power to put Tavares away. That Tavares' chin could be completely done for. So I'll say Anders handles him, but close fight. Plus 110 for Anders. What are the opening odds here? Let's see if we can find them. Where are they at? Eryk Anders was plus 160. Wow, he's a big dog at open. Minus 130, Tavares. I think Anders does more. Does Anders out-wrestle him? Maybe not. Like, smothering pressure against the cage, I favor Anders. Footwork, I favor Tavares. Power, I favor Anders. Chin, I favor Anders. Jiu-jitsu, I don't favor either one of them. Volume, I guess I slightly lean Tavares, but I think Anders could knock him out. I don't trust in Tavares' chin. And it could just be a sloppy 3-round fight and it ends up going to a 29-28 decision. Either guy could win. So I definitely think possibility of incredibly close fight. But the upside is with Eryk Anders, you have more power. Both guys coming off knockout losses, but the level of opposition rate is vastly different. Leroy Duncan, amazing, right? Robert Bryshak, mid. So give me Anders to pull this one out as an underdog. Featured prelim, Bruno Silva versus Charles Johnson. Can Charles Johnson finally beat a veteran? I'll say that he does. I'm going Charles Johnson to beat Bruno Silva. I like his chances in this matchup. He's going to have a nice striking advantage from the long distance. He's got a 4-inch reach edge. Also got a nice 5-inch height advantage in the longer legs. I think Charles Johnson is going to be fast from the outside, kind of playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game with Bruno Silva. I think he can find some straight shots on him. Silva does have deceptive power, especially with that 66-inch reach. If he can get close to you in the pocket, rip him with a big power shot, try and follow Alex Perez's footsteps and just land that perfect hook. I don't think Bruno Silva does that, though. I don't see it. I feel like Bruno Silva is the slower guy. Charles Johnson is more mobile. He's more fluid with his striking. And from the outside, he's going to have a nice edge over Bruno Silva. And I think he get a lot more shots off on Bruno. And then, okay, so Bruno's going to walk him down while getting hit with a good amount of shit, even if he does get on the inside. The power shots in range, I feel like Johnson should be prepared for, but granted, he got caught clean by Perez, you know? Does Bruno Silva look to wrestle? I think that's a possibility. But when I think about Bruno Silva's wrestling game, and I think about Charles Johnson, I think he's going to have a hard time getting to Charles's hips first thing. But does he take him down? I think he could press him up against the cage, but I find that Bruno Silva is going to more so be frustrated with clinch strikes and defensive grappling towards the cage by Charles Johnson. Like maybe Bruno gets him down a couple times, but I'm hard pressed to say Bruno gets on top and is able to really do much damage or even control the fight for a considerable amount of time. I would much favor that Johnson keeps this fight standing for the most part, outstrikes Bruno Silva. Like there's possibilities too of him countering Bruno Silva and even stunning him. Like I'm not ready to say Bruno's jumping through Charles Johnson, okay? Like yes, he beat Hyun Sung Park, but overrated prospect. Let's keep it a buck. And then before that, yes, Van knocked him out. Yes, Cop knocked him out. He took a lot of damage in those fights and he was completely outstruck. And then the fight before, you see the Durden knockout, and that's nice, but he was losing on the feet. He was getting outstruck before landing the devastating shovel uppercut into the ground and pound. And then way back, Tyson Nam submission win 3 years ago. I think Charles Johnson outworks him. I think Charles Johnson outstrikes him, stops some grappling, avoids the big shots from Bruno Silva in close. And I think Bruno Silva with that more karate style from the Pitbull team is going to be stuck in the mud a little bit slower with the footwork, having a hard time dealing with the rangy Charles Johnson. And I think he's going to get busted up here. Johnson, at the end of the day, though, it is true. It's prospect wins. Beats Joshua Van. I guess I beat Sumaderji. That's fair. Launer Kavanaugh prospect who's now on fire. If Charles Johnson beats you, gold is coming. Lost to Timurov. Granted, Timurov popped after the fight, and it was still a good third round for Charles Johnson. Alex Perez knocked him out in the first round. As of late against veterans, 1-1. Able to out-kickbox Sumaderji in a competitive affair. And to be honest, the Sumaderji win aging pretty nicely because it seems like Sumaderji's leveled up a lot. Alex Perez knocking him out. Unfortunate, perfectly timed shot. I know it wasn't long ago, and I don't love picking guys coming off of knockouts, but I don't think Charles Johnson's getting put to bed again. Especially, it was also like, it was a shot that messed with the equilibrium. It's not like he was flat out on his back, beaten up and just taking devastating ground and pound. He was just rocked bad, off balance, and, wobbling all over the place. So I'll say Charles Johnson keeps it together this time, and I think he should beat Bruno Silva in this fight. As far as the odds for the matchup, Charles Johnson is going to be the favorite. He's sitting at -205. Bruno Silva sitting at +175. It'd be nice if he could find the kill shot. If he could put Bruno Silva away, that's a big deal. Over 2.5, -150. I lean over 2.5. I'm confident Johnson wins at -205. I like the line. I like the chances. I think he's going out and showing out. I'm picking Charles Johnson to outwork Bruno Silva. He'll connect with more strikes. The footwork will be on point. He'll fight off the takedowns, and he'll stay safe in the pocket. He's not getting put out 2 times in a row. We're going Johnson W confidently. Main card opener. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It's Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. I'm going Steven Asplund over Vitor Petrino. I just got a feeling that Petrino's overlooking him. I feel like Vitor Petrino is going to look at that soft, chubby body and say, this guy, nothing for me. And I think Petrino is going to walk into some shit on the feet. Steven Asplund is a fast puncher. For a heavyweight, insane speed. Landed 110 significant strikes against Sean Sharaf last time. Busted him up with constant attack. Also seems to have insane cardio. Doesn't get tired. So I have high volume Steven Asplund with clean accuracy on his shots and really good cardio versus Vitor Petrino, who's got big power, but he's more of a one-shot guy. Has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that he got like a few weeks ago, and does have decent takedowns, but is he overrated a bit? Like, he hits hard, he can wrestle, he can impose his will. Like, Vitor Petrino just has a low-ass fight IQ. And Vitor Petrino also, it seems to me, he's one of those guys that would overlook a Steven Asplund. He'd view this as easy money. Asplund taking it on short notice. He's taking on a heavyweight where he thinks to himself, well, these are heavyweights. I'm going to be faster. I'm the former light heavyweight. But really, Asplund's going to have the edge with hand speed. And even if Petrino gets Asplund down, if Petrino doesn't finish him, we start the next round on the feet if Asplund can't work out of position. What happens to the Petrino gas tank now that he's 250 pounds? I think he'll be sucking wind a bit. I think he'll slow down. Petrino can get low volume. I think Petrino can get a little lazy out there. Whereas I know for a fact Asplund is throwing everything at him, and he's putting his soul into this fight. You have to assume he sees this as the life-changing opportunity for himself. Like, he's getting a short notice chance against a guy who at one point was one of the more hyped up fighters in the UFC light heavyweight division. Now in the heavyweight class has some hype on him as well. I really feel like it's live for Petrino to show out in this spot. I think so. And you know what? I'm going to also push this. I think people are going to forget about the fact that even against Peterson, it's not like he was blowing him out the water. He flattened him in round 3. It was a perfectly timed shot and the fight was over with. But like, you look at the strike totals, Petrino was in that fight throwing little bit less, a little bit reserved. Like overall, at the end of it, right? He only threw one less strike. But like in round two, a little bit more in the reserve. Round one was close. Then round three, put him away. It's like he seemed kind of, I don't want to say sloppy, but like a little sloppy and slow, kind of letting Peterson get off on him a little bit. And he like allows fights to start falling away from him. And then he lands the big knockout shot and that's it. But like, I don't see that with the side of Asplund. Asplund's a different animal, man. Asplund's a different savage, man. I don't know. I think Steven Asplund is coming out ready for this fight. I don't know. I like the Asplund side. I think he's going to win this fight. I think he can show out in this matchup. I'm pretty sure he's training with Peter Griffin Peterson too, if I'm not mistaken, which at the very least, the defensive wrestling work in the room is nice there. And I like the fact that he's going to be fending off some takedowns. And it's not like Petrino's an amazing wrestler. He can wrestle, but he's not sensational. Like beating Austin Lane on the ground doesn't mean much. Taking down some lower level guys at 205 doesn't mean much. He's fighting a 6'5", full-sized heavyweight that used to be 500 pounds, which is insane. But with the hand speed of a damn middleweight. And Steve Asplund, a Max Holloway superfan, he's got to be pissed off right now. He's got to be pissed off right now. I think Steven Asplund is going to be able to keep this fight striking, and I think Petrino is going to overlook him. I think Petrino is going to come out with his usual early onslaught of blitzing shots. I think Asplund catches him with some punches. Petrino could get him down early. Then Asplund could survive on the ground, find his way up to the feet, or even just lose the first round. Round two starts, Petrino behind in significant strikes as Asplund is pushing a high pace and that gas tank dwindles. I think Petrino's still got a suspect gas tank. He hasn't been tested at heavyweight like this against a guy that is going to throw a lot of punches at him. And a guy that's looking to take his block off with confidence. You got to go Asplund for the win. I'm going Asplund for the victory. I think he's live for like a second or third round volume accumulation KO where Petrino dwindles down. He could get caught earlier too because Asplund's got first round knockout power. I think Asplund's putting him away. I think Petrino's going to end up taking an L. And I feel like he could definitely gas out. Plus 210 for Asplund. I got the underdog all day here. Petrino at minus 250. But you have to, if you're on Petrino, you got to rely on the lay and pray. In a striking fight, Steven Asplund will get to the target more frequently and he'll get to the target first. He's got way better footwork. He's got way faster hands, and he's just simply put a better boxer. Yes, Petrino has power, one-shot power. But with a lot of shots coming his way, going to have to walk through fire. It's still heavyweight punches. Looking to wrestle, maybe that's where Petrino finds some success. But if he doesn't finish the fight with grappling and then he gasses out, Asplund's going to be all over him until the end of this fight. He's relentless. He's got good comeback ability. He's shown it. I think Steven Asplund's got this fight, man. I'm going plus 205 dog, Steven Asplund, to stop him with good volume, consistent boxing, and the faster hands. Petrino's getting knocked out. Let's go. Team Asplund, titties for the W, bro. We'll celebrate. Let's go. I'm hype as hell for Asplund. Honestly, this might be the most exciting fight on the damn card for me. Next one, Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. I mean, I got to go with Rahiki over Hardwick. Anybody with any bit of like athletic potential and explosive ability, I'm probably going to pick against Hardwick. Rahiki was getting dropped left and right in the first round on Contender Series. It was a war that he came back from the brink of defeat, really, because he was nearly knocked out in the first 30 seconds of the fight with the overhand right that landed. He survived the onslaught, got rocked again, and just built different. Tough dude. Really good stand-up, though. Just defensively leaves some things to be desired. Kind of comes into range with the head on the center line. A little bit naked kicks he'll throw. He won't get out of the way of shots all that great. But you have to have explosive power to threaten the knockout against him. Harry Hardwick, bro. Slow twitch, man. Harry Hardwick is volume. Harry Hardwick is grit. Harry Hardwick is pressure. Harry Hardwick is getting in your face and mixing it up. Harry Hardwick doesn't have the devastating impact to be able to beat Marwan Rahiki in a striking fight. How he wins, he wrestles. He has to land takedowns. Harry Hardwick should look to close the gap and clinch. Smother. Press against the cage. Wear on Rahiki. Test that gas tank. Rahiki's a freaky athlete. Quick hands. Nasty kicks. Spinning kicks, too, in the yards. It'll spin to the body. Snapping power, devastating elbows. Like Marwan Rahiki has a lot of weapons, okay? And then you look at Hardwick's debut. It was the worst debut, I think, of all time. 10 leg kicks and the fight's over. He got destroyed by Kawe Fernandez. And Marwan Rahiki, I'm not saying he's Kawe Fernandez, but he's got to look at that fight and say, this fucking guy has never learned to check a calf kick. I'm a good kickboxer. Let me calf kick him a few times. I don't think Harry Hardwick knows how to defend the calf kick. Now, I'm sure that it's gotten a little bit better since last time. And to be fair, Kawe Fernandez is one of the most underrated strikers at 155. But Marwan Rahiki has a similar wiry build to Kawe Fernandez and a similar speed on his strikes. And I think Marwan Rahiki is going to attack the legs a bit here. I don't think he's just going to blast low kicks, but I do think he'll find some nice kicks to the legs against Harry Hardwick. Harry Hardwick, what the hell? It's a hard name to say. I think Rahiki's showing out. I think he's knocking Hardwick out. I think Hardwick's going to be too slow. Rahiki's hands are going to be way faster. Kicks are way faster. He's smooth on the feet. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. It's like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I feel about the fight. Come on. Come on. Rahiki's a solid talent. Rahiki's an athletic fighter. Rahiki's a good kickboxer. He's sharp on the feet with explosive combination. Sure, he got caught against a real explosive guy, Malumbo, with some overhand shots, but he still weathered the storm. This crazy will to win. He's not getting wheeled out after the fight on the stretcher, after getting leg kicked by Houdini over here. I think Rahiki's knocking Harry Hardwick out. And I think it's potentially a close range elbow. You're going to see a big strike speed disadvantage. Like, Hardwick is on the slower side. He's toughness and pressure, volume output. Bro, it's Cage Warriors champs, man. They don't do well normally. They don't. Rahiki all day. Odds for the fight, minus 270. Rahiki should get the knockout. Plus 230 for Hardwick. There's nothing I can say from Hardwick besides a lot of heart, man. Am I even going to say that? I don't know. Maybe not. Decent chin. Maybe. I don't know. Will to win. I guess. Like, these are the most basic ass talking points to use for Hardwick. He punches okay. He's a stance switch hitter. Got some volume on his shots. But, like, it's... Okay, let me imagine I give you Nate Diaz's build. Nate Diaz's athletic potential, but I'm going to strip you of all his jiu-jitsu skills, and he never learned to box, and he just was an average MMA striker. How do you think that guy would do at the UFC level? Probably pretty fucking bad. You know, you eliminate the snappy left hand that he has, you know? That's Harry Hardwick. Okay, the British Diaz, right? Without any of the swagger, okay? Marwan Rahiki is knocking him out. Explosive athlete, dangerous kickboxer with precise shots. And yeah, this fight's not close. I'm not spending any more time on this fight. You know what I'm saying. Next fight on the card, Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. Jose Delgado all day. Andre Fili's getting knocked out here, man. It's win-loss all the time for Fili. Bro, he's due for the loss. Pulled out the C-Rod, split decision. Before that, Melky quick subbed him. Got the split decision against Cub. Before that, knocked out bad by Danny Ige. The writing's on the wall for a Jose Delgado emphatic comeback performance after his loss last time against Nathaniel Wood, in which he nearly knocked Nathaniel Wood out in the first round. Delgado in loss, somehow I feel like his stock rose because Nathaniel Wood is one of the most technically sound fighters at 145 outside of the elite guys. And Jose Delgado nearly stopped him early. Jose Delgado looked very good in a close fight against Nathaniel Wood. Delgado has lightning speed hands. He's got nasty kicks. Doesn't remind me of Yair Rodriguez, really. I think he's got maybe, a bit of a different flow with the boxing and, seems a little bit more physical in the grappling element. But, like, there is that type of build on him, like a Yair Rodriguez. I think Delgado's a problem at 145. I mean, he missed weight last time, but assuming he makes weight. I think Delgado is a problem in the UFC featherweight division. And he's fighting a 35-year-old Andre Fili, who I think is at a big strike speed disadvantage and a big strike power disadvantage. And Fili likes to box. And he's going to look to catch Delgado with some of the hands and, probably muster off some punch combinations. And in doing so, he's going to leave himself vulnerable to a knockout punch. Delgado is too dangerous, or a knee to the head, or a kick to the face. Like, Delgado has too many striking weapons. And he's too much of a sharp blade. I'm telling you, at 27 years old, this fucking prospect is going to make waves in the UFC. You wait and see. I picked Nathaniel Wood against him, and I was right. But I never lost faith that he's going to be good. I think that Jose Delgado is going to destroy Andre Fili this weekend. I think he's knocking him out. It's not going to go distance. Fili's going to get caught cold and knocked out possibly in the first round. Delgado's going to be a lot faster. Fili's probably going to look to grapple. I don't see him having a high success rate in taking down Jose Delgado. And I think Fili's going to be completely outgunned in striking. Fili has okay hands, and, you know, he can rip kicks out there, sure. But he's not a snappy kicker. He's not a devastating puncher. He's a volume guy. And he's hard, you know? He's got a lot of toughness. He keeps coming. Like, you know, Andre Fili's got some combos. But Delgado is a kill you type of fighter. One shot could end this fight quickly. Delgado is an explosive athlete, but not just explosive. It's you have the explosive potential and the fast twitch fibers, and you have fine-tuned kickboxing technique. 27, 4 months ago, Nathaniel Wood, this guy's going to look way better. I'm telling you, Delgado's leveled up. I promise you, fighting Nathaniel Wood was a great thing for him. Fights Nathaniel Wood, loses, great. Pump the brakes a little bit before getting him into the top 15. This is better. It sucks that he has a loss, but it doesn't really matter. Nathaniel Wood cleared against Fili 3 years ago. Something just randomly worth mentioning. I think Delgado's knocking Fili out in a big way. I think it's going to be one of those, holy shit, Delgado is about that. He's a minus 325 favorite. I agree with the odds. Plus 275 for Fili. I agree with the odds, though. At 35, Fili don't have a chance. It's really, do you think Fili survives? I don't. I think it goes under 2.5. I think Delgado's getting a knockout. I think Delgado's going to look devastating on the feet. He's at such an edge in striking, and he's so much more powerful. Oh, Fili's getting chinned, man. I can already feel it coming. No, no intentional pun on that one. I can feel it coming for Fili to get put down. He's touchy, but it ain't gonna work in this one. I think he's getting touched bad. Touched in a bad way. Delgado for the W all day. Delgado for the knockout win. No problem. Just too surgical with the striking. Next fight on the card, Oumar Sy versus Iwan Cutelaba. I think Oumar Sy is really live to choke Cutelaba out. I like Oumar Sy's chances. I know that everybody's kind of jumped off ship because of this loss to Alonzo Menafield, and I know it was disappointing. The fight sucked, and he looked pretty mid. He did follow it up with a nice win against Brennison Ibero. Destroyed him on the ground. And I want to just speak some positives. Dominated Da Woon Jung to a decision. And I know Da Woon Jung, but he gave Olberg a decent fight, to be fair. Submitted Tokos, who's a very good grappler. I think that's something that demands a little bit of respect. Like Oumar Sy, he's still developing. I don't think he's going to be the next world champ, but he has a tool set that gives problems to kind of these wild guys like Iwan Cutelaba. Cutelaba, he wrestles fairly well, but I wouldn't call him a very good wrestler. He's more of a pressure-based fighter, and he has wrestling in the back pocket and will expose Ibo Aslan in wrestling because Ibo Aslan doesn't know how to wrestle. And yeah, I picked him in that fight as a dog. Like, there's moments where it's like I'm talking shit about these guys. I feel bad because I've had confidence in them in certain spots, but each matchup is different. Cutelaba puts his neck out sometimes shooting takedowns. I could see Oumar Sy getting a front choke of some kind, front headlock position. Dude, Cutelaba lost to Bukauskas last time. I've kind of jumped off the Bukauskas ship in a big way after seeing Krylov destroy him. I feel like Oumar Sy has the athletic tools to out-kickbox Cutelaba using that 8-inch reach advantage. I think about Cutelaba trying to force entries and wrestle him. I think Oumar Sy can fend those off. I think Oumar Sy can get to a dominant position on the ground. I think Oumar Sy could counter the Iwan Cutelaba grappling attempts that he's going to look to bring and end up submitting him. I like Oumar Sy's chances in this one. He's a pretty technical striker. It's not like insanely sharp, but with an 83-inch reach and staying under a defensive guard and throwing okay straight punches and nice kicks to the body, he can get some shots off on a more wild striker like Cutelaba. And then when I think about the ground game, I think Sy's out grappling Cutelaba. I think he's better at jiu-jitsu. Wrestling-wise, I think Cutelaba is going to wrestle himself into bad spots. I don't think Cutelaba is going to knock Sy out. And I don't think Cutelaba is going to sub him. And I think about a 3-round fight. Cutelaba hasn't been looking that good. Split decision against Bukauskas. Ibo Aslan submission, but Aslan's not good. Ivan Erslan split decision. Erslan is awful. Lost to Felipe Lins, no longer in the UFC, and then win against Tanner Bozier by knockout in what was, at the time, a bit of a wow factor because Bozier was coming down from the heavyweight division. Okay, that one was kind of nice. It's bottom of the barrel. He fought, really, let's look at it, right? Bottom of the barrel prospect, I guess. Veteran, really. Overrated prospect with no ground game. Modestas Bukauskas, veteran who can't break into the top 15, really. And then now it's trending up the ranks, French prospect with striking, with grappling, with length, with some decent wins. I think it's nothing to look past the Dawoon Jung win. And I think a Toko submission is impressive, beating him on the ground. Navajo Sterling took him to a decision, got taken down. He struggled with Tokos. Like, I think we sometimes will fall victim to obsessing about one fight, like the Alonzo Menafield matchup. And then we'll look past the fact that Alonzo Menafield fucking beat Dustin Jacoby, who's on fire right now. So I think Oumar Sy should beat Cutelaba. And I'm kind of thinking, looking at Oumar Sy's resume, 4 submissions, 5 KOs, something's telling me he's live for the sub this time out, that Cutelaba gets reckless and potentially gets caught in something stupid. What blows my mind to this day is how young Cutelaba is. He's 32 years old, and this man has a shitload of experience. 33rd professional fight here, is it? 32nd pro fight for him? Holy shit. But I think it's Oumar Sy time. 11 losses for Cutelaba. Listen, I think, unfortunately for Cutelaba, 12th is on the way. So I'll go Oumar Sy, minus 205, and something's telling me he's going to get a submission in this fight. Cutelaba, plus 175. I'm excited to see if Sy is going to show any more aggressiveness or if it's going to be a bit of patience, kind of waiting for Cutelaba to blitz and make a mistake. Over a round and a half, minus 175. I don't really feel like playing with over-unders here because I do think the neck of Cutelaba could be caught. Comparable matchup to this fight for me is Kenley Nzechukwu, who stopped him with some ground and pound. I think there's a possibility of that. Ryan Spann, who caught him in the ghillie some time ago. When he's fought these real tall and long guys, 83-inch reach for Nzechukwu, right? And then you look, Ryan Spann, I think 79-inch reach for Ryan Spann. Tall, lanky striker. And even Johnny Walker, tall, lanky. He struggled. And I think with the ground game too, Oumar Sy should clear. I think he looks solid in this fight and puts together a little 2-fight win streak. He's not the next John Jones. He was supposed to be the French John Jones. Let's chill on that. But he beats Iwan Cutelaba. Next fight, co-main event. Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. I'm going with Jillian Robertson. I think she's going to win this fight. Initially, Jillian Robertson was scheduled to fight Amanda Lemos last year at the Apex. Fight got canceled after Lemos had medical issues, pulled out of the matchup. She did also take it on short notice. Now, Jillian Robertson has had more time to prepare for the Lemos side. Initially, Robertson was going to fight against Lucindo, who Lemos had actually recently beaten. And then Lemos stepping in on short notice off of a competitive loss to Tatiana Suarez. Could have capitalized on the moment in the matchup. But now I'm like, more time for Robertson to study the tape, get everything figured out. I feel like also Lemos pulling out of a fight. I never liked picking a 38-year-old that pulled out of a fight recently. I don't like the look of it at all. 38, the body for a woman at 38, she's closer to menopause. On the other side, at 30 for Robertson, she's in the prime right now. I think that Jillian Robertson is going to outwork Amanda Lemos. I can't trust in just Lemos having hand speed and footwork and threatening with a ninja choke. Because if Jillian Robertson gets her down, Jillian is a beast from top position. Tatiana Suarez is a good smothering wrestler, but Jillian Robertson is a better jiu-jitsu player, better offensive top game, better control from top position. Like, if Robertson gets on top of you, it is incredibly unlikely that you find your way out of that position. She's on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. She's coming off of a nice finish 10 months ago against Marina Rodriguez. She mauled her on the ground. Before that, she beat Luana Pinheiro and out-grappled her in the fight. Michelle Waterson win 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Poliana Viana. I feel like Robertson's leveling up at 30 in her prime. Now, I got a 38-year-old Lemos, pulled out of the fight with medical issues last time. And then quick turnaround. We're getting right back into camp. And then we're doing it again against Jillian Robertson. I don't know. I know Lemos has been win-loss, win-loss. And then now recently coming off the L. I don't know if you're into, going superstitious, so that might be your side. But at 38, nearly 39, I just don't like it for Lemos. I feel like Jillian Robertson, if she gets her down, she is going to control the fuck out of her. We saw Weili Zhang out-wrestle the hell out of Amanda Lemos in their fight. And I think that Jillian Robertson can do the same. I mean, if you look, the recent grappling threats, Weili Zhang out-wrestled the hell out of her. Berna Jandiroba, subbed her. Tatiana Suarez, decision loss. Now, she does have this Mackenzie Dern victory 2 years ago. Fair. Respect on that win. I think Jillian Robertson's style is going to be a problem for Lemos at 38 years old. It's also, she beat Dern 2 years ago. It's not relevant necessarily to today because 36 versus 38, it's a big deal at this point of her fighting life. 4 fights ago, too. I think Jillian Robertson probably gets it on the cards. She gets a takedown. She gets on top. She locks it on top. But let me tell you, though, the X factor of this fight is Jillian Robertson is a finisher, though. She's got 4 wins by decision, right? So she could be the decision merchant, control position, and get it done. But she also's got 9 submission wins. And you look, she's got control into ground and pound of Marina Rodriguez. That could easily be back take into armbar, where we saw the armbar land for Verna Jandaroba. We've seen the submission threat there by armbar for Jillian Robertson. Pierre Rodriguez, who's also on the card. Ground and pound strikes are coming aplenty. I think there is a chance that Jillian finds the submission against a 38-year-old, but smarter thought process is probably positional dominance, top control. This could be in a different way, though, because Lemos' defensive grappling is better than Rob Font's, but it could kind of be reminiscent to like Rob Font, Raul Rosas, with Robertson focused on getting it to the ground and succeeding on the takedowns. I think Robertson in the small cage is at a nice advantage. They're in the bigger space of the full-size octagon. You could argue Lemos' footwork could keep her safer more often, but even if it's not the takedown from Robertson, it's the clinch pressure. And I can find Lemos being very frustrated by Jillian Robertson's close-range smother attack and Robertson's threat of getting the fight to the ground. And she's pretty good at getting that body lock into the backside control and then dragging fights to the ground and then taking the back from there. And it's one little mistake from Lemos and she's in trouble. And I think that Jillian Robertson is going to find herself in dominant positions in this fight, potentially into a submission finish or even ground and pound. So we're going Jillian Robertson to get it done. I think now with even more time to prepare against Lemos, this is just better for her. Minus 195 on Jillian Robertson, plus 170 on Amanda Lemos. Let's see what the over 2.5 is. I'm just curious here. Over 2.5, only minus 136. So they're thinking maybe Robertson is getting that inside distance, ground and pound or submission. I think it's possible. I think she could sneak something under the neck of a tired Amanda Lemos. I don't like Lemos pulling out of the last one. I hate that, actually. Medical issues sent her out of the fight. So let's say she has more time to prepare, sure, but another rough weight cut. And now she's fighting Jillian Robertson, who's a peak athlete, and Lemos at 38, nearly 39. Really towards the end, we have to be honest, you have to favor Jillian Robertson here. So Robertson, to get it done, is going to be my prediction for the co-main event. And let's jump to the main event of the evening. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. We got Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. I'm going with the side of Kevin Vallejos to get it done over Josh Emmett. I think he's going to be calculated in the first round, making some reads on Josh Emmett, who will probably come out fairly aggressive with the boxing, looking to back Vallejos up and catch him with some power shots, because Josh Emmett has very good close-range punching skills. In the red zone, Josh Emmett is red hot. But the problem is, so is Kevin Vallejos. Vallejos has knockout power in his hands, and he's creative with his striking technique. Who the fuck spinning back elbows Giga Chikadze? And he did it in devastating fashion after making his reads in the first round. An element of Kevin Vallejos that I like is he's a very cerebral fighter. At just 24 years of age, he has the patience and calm of a fighter much older. And I think that just speaks to the potential that Vallejos has. I think that he's going to make his reads on Josh Emmett. I think Emmett could catch him with some punches round one. The boxing of Emmett is sharp, and he definitely has devastating power, but I think that Vallejos will find the perfect kill strike. The counter will become available with time. I rate Vallejos as definitely one of the sharpest technical strikers right now in the UFC featherweight division, and especially in the rising prospect category. The tight and like technical kickboxing stance I like a lot. It allows for good defensive boxing, which comes very in handy with somebody like Josh Emmett. Obviously, we saw Giga Chikadze get off some nice body kicks, but we're not seeing that attack from Josh Emmett. It's got to be pressure into range for Emmett, and that makes it easier for Vallejos to find that kill shot because he's not going to have to deal with such a moving target like Giga's distance striking, or even Danny Silva's very footwork-focused boxing, where he was able to survive the 3 rounds against Vallejos. I think the explosive ability and timing of Vallejos will come. And I think by the 3rd round, I feel as though he's very live to knock out the 41-year-old Josh Emmett. Could it be earlier? Yes. But I think that Vallejos respects the legendary career on the opposite side. Taking the first 5 minutes to make the proper reads and adequate adjustments to the Emmett style to avoid being caught by something stupid in the pocket, and then finds that knockout in the second or third round after more so the technical read that he's going to need to, I think, succeed. On the side of Emmett, he's got to put pressure early. I think he's going to. I think he's going to look to land big punch combinations. I think he's going to look to wrestle. I feel like Vallejos has like the perfect defensive wrestling build for this fight, though. 5'7", short and stocky and jacked. I think he's going to be able to fend off Josh Emmett's wrestling attack. I know Josh Emmett landed a nice slam against Lerone Murphy. There was a big moment for him there, but you know, in his most recent fight, I mean, he got mauled by Youssef Zalal, quickly submitted in the first round. At 41, you got to wonder where the confidence truly is. He's got to be saying to himself, damn, I'm 1-4 in my last 5, and that win is against Bryce Mitchell, who's now a bantamweight. And then before that, it was against Calvin Kattar in 2022 by a split decision. Josh Emmett at 41, it's a miracle that he's still in the shape that he's in. And it's even crazier that he's fighting in a UFC main event against a real surging talent. Vallejos' only pro loss is a decision loss to John Silva. And he was expected to win that fight. He was the favorite going in. And yes, he lost to John Silva, but still went a hard 3 rounds against the John Silva, who then went on a tear in the UFC and is still on a tear in the UFC. I think the potential for Vallejos is certainly high. And I feel as though he's going to knock Josh Emmett out somewhere in the first 3 rounds. I anticipate second or third more so because I feel as though Vallejos will use the early portion of the fight to make the reads. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but Josh Emmett has a good chin. True. Josh Emmett does have a good chin, but he is 41. And he got knocked out badly by Jeremy Stevens several years ago. And I could see him hurt badly here by a Vallejos shot. I think a Vallejos elbow attack on the inside could potentially cut Josh Emmett. I think that's a factor to bring into this fight. I think that Vallejos is going to find Josh Emmett's pressure to be frustrating early, but I don't think he'll allow himself to be swayed mentally. And I think he'll stay calm and deal with the boxing onslaught until finding the devastating punches. And some shots will start to open themselves up. And I think his athleticism edge on top of it all, too, being the younger guy, is going to be the key difference maker. Now, this fight right here is for me to break the 2026 main event curse that I have going on. And you guys obviously know, if you watch the show, if somehow Josh Emmett goes out and wins by knockout, I'm about to just pick against whatever I'm picking for like at least like 3 cards or something for the main events. Because I swear, if Josh Emmett somehow beats Vallejos here after this prediction, I swear to you, I really will start to believe this jinx shit. I'm going to feel like, oh my God, like these fighters' careers are getting devastated because of me. I should probably think one side and just pick the other, but I don't know. I don't know if that strategy would even work. If somehow Josh Emmett wins this fight, bro, if somehow Josh Emmett beats Vallejos this weekend, oh my God. I'm sitting here shell-shocked, confused, and I may be convinced, bro. If it's 7-2, oh my God. No. Vallejos will win. He will technically outwork Josh Emmett. He's able to outstrike him. He's going to stay smart under the educated guard. He will make his technical reads early. I'm sure he'll find some big shots. He's not going to put himself in any stupid positions. He might attack the Emmett legs a little bit and slowly wear down the older fighter in Josh Emmett, which is a strategy I like too. I like some leg kick attacks from Vallejos also. And I think he will. In the first round, I think it's going to be more setting things up for later. You know, maybe a little body work, maybe some leg kicks, a few shots up high, but nothing too crazy. Unless Emmett really opens himself up and Vallejos feels willing to then commit to the counter. But I like the Giga Chikadze performance where he showed so much patience now in a 5-round fight against Josh Emmett. Like, I think showing that maturity last time gives me more confidence in Vallejos here than if he would have just blitzed Giga Chikadze in 30 seconds. On top of that, who destroys Giga Chikadze like Vallejos did? I think it demands a ton of respect. So I'm going Vallejos by knockout. I feel knockout after round 1 because he will make his reads for the initial 5 minutes. As far as the betting lines for the fight, Vallejos is a minus 650 favorite. So really wide favorite status. Plus 475 for Josh Emmett. If you're on the fade AJ side, you have a plus 475 underdog in the main event. If you believe in the curse, you literally have the chance to get a plus 475 dog in the main event. So good luck to you if you're on the other side. I think Vallejos is knocking him out. I don't think this is officially the knockout prop, but I'm curious. Minus 138, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. They don't have the knockout props yet. We don't really have any props. I don't even think we have good over-unders here. Under 4.5, minus 150. Over 4.5. What? Yeah, no, that's not right. No way that's right. So props will be dropping throughout the week, and we'll give it a look. This fight means a lot for the featherweight division because Vallejos is the emerging talent, right? From Argentina, you got another Latin American star. And there's big spot power for Vallejos after a main event win. I think Vallejos getting the W may find himself in a fight next, which could be crazy, and Yair may not take it. But the Yair Rodriguez fight versus Vallejos seems possible. There's a chance they do John Silva versus the side of Yair Rodriguez, and then, maybe Vallejos would be matched up with somebody like an Arnold Allen or even an Aljamain Sterling. But I feel like Vallejos is on the cusp of something big here, especially if he's able to knock Josh Emmett out. Because listen, you look at Josh Emmett's whole UFC career, it's literally one knockout loss. Jeremy Stevens knocked him out back in the day with a wild-ass hook in round 2. But since then, I mean, the chin has held up for years. But now 41, if Vallejos can become the second guy to knock him out, I think that's a big deal. I mean, if you look at Giga Chikadze, only knocked out one time as a pro. And it was against Vallejos, the first guy to stop him. He took a lot of damage against Calvin Kattar years ago. But Vallejos was the first guy to chin him. And I feel like that's, I don't know, timing for sure, right? That he gets these matchups at this point when he can knock the guys out towards their, twilight. But I feel like he's the second guy to knock out Josh Emmett. First guy to knock out Giga last time, second guy to knock out Emmett here. It just seems like writing on the wall for the Vallejos side. And I think big things are coming in 2026 for him. They got to give him a big ranked fight. I mean, this is a main event. They're putting him in this spot for a reason. They were looking to build him up the ranks at a rather quick rate. You look at the featherweight top 10, right? Emmett at 11. So let's say Vallejos at 14 goes out and gets a knockout. Emmett at 11. Steve Garcia fighting Diego Lopez. I'm doubtful he fights the winner, but in a wild world, that could happen. They could throw him the Arnold Allen fight if they're looking to put him to the test against another John Silva loser opponent, right? And he gave Silva a decent fight. That could be a possibility. The Aljamain Sterling fight, if they want to really test him against a grappler. Yair, if they're not going to push Yair versus John Silva, which I got a feeling Yair and John Silva is on the cusp. After seeing the UFC go the route of Steve Garcia, Diego Lopez at the White House, I feel like they're going to set up John Silva and Yair Rodriguez as opposed to waiting for Diego Lopez to see what happens. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, if he goes out and wins, there's even Melquizael Costa, which I think that'd be a pretty sick fight. Him and Melky. Melky's on fire right now. Another hot prospect that's broken into the top 15. There's some savages, man. The UFC featherweight division, like I'm talking about outside of the top 5 guys. I mean, you have John Silva at number 6, who's dangerous and on the cusp of a massive fight now after just beating Arnold Allen. You have Steve Garcia at number 9, fighting the number 2 guy in Diego Lopez. You have Melquizael Costa at number 12, that just was the first guy to knock out Dan Ige. And now we got Kevin Vallejos at number 14, fighting number 11, Josh Emmett. And I'm predicting that he's going to be the second guy ever to knock out Emmett. So, yeah, featherweight division on fire for some up-and-coming talent, and Vallejos definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Massive things on the way, and I do think he's probably sending Josh Emmett into retirement. Don't be surprised after this fight, you see Vallejos chin him and Josh Emmett lay the gloves down. So that is my take on the main event. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Those are the predictions for UFC Vegas 114. Let me know in the comments who you got in the main event. Are you riding with me to end this BS curse, or you trusting in it? You going big dog Josh Emmett? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you thought of some of the picks in the comments. Agree, disagree. I want to see where you guys' heads are at. Nothing to say in the comments, just a W to boost the algorithm for your boy. I love each and every one of you savages. Thank you guys for all watching. Keep it locked in all week. Content every single day, so make sure you're subscribed with the post notifications turned on. Hype the video as well. I always appreciate when you guys do that. Big W's to the chat. Thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button. Good night and peace out.